Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. Thanks for tuning in for another episode. I got a shipment of these guys in. This is the new titanium fixed head spinnerbait by Picasso. You guys have seen and heard me talk about how I like their free swinging head with the titanium arm. This is the fixed head one. The biggest difference is with the free swinging one, if you really want to fish it around a lot of laydowns and like bushes, that free swinging head will hang a few more times than the fixed head. So we're going to go out and test this fixed head design. I'm on a local river here, so there's plenty of snags for me to get, and we're going to wing this guy around. So the titanium arm, you can do whatever you want to it, snaps right back into place. I'm excited to give it a whirl. I don't have any reason to think it won't work great, but I want to get out and fish it. Chunker. Look how fat that bass is. Look how fat that little guy is. Storing up for the winter right there. I like me some fat bass. That was cool. That was one I was watching. I could see the blades coming back. I saw the blades take off to the side. As I do that, I set it down in a tree. I think a lot of times, any bait that you can watch, if you can see any part of your bait on the retrieve, you should always, oh, that was a nice bass I just had. Take a swing at it. Dang. Just like that. I never felt it. I saw the fish come up and just turn on it. But that's what I was going to say. Any bait you can actually like keep your eyes on, you should always just, you know, watch as much of it as possible. It's just like watching your line. The little bit that you can always watch your line, it just gives you that little bit of an edge to see a fish bite it. You know, that spinnerbait fish, I never saw the fish bite it, saw my bait move. Never saw that one that came up and boiled behind it. Never felt that, but he came up and swung at it. And so it gives you a little bit of knowledge you wouldn't have had if you were staring up at the sky or looking in the woods or whatever. Little guy. That's what I was talking about. I came through that tree, a bunch of little branches, and I was able just to swim this right through that and generate the strike. That's one of the reasons why a fixed head spinnerbait is better in your heavy cover, because it tends to roll better, and instead of having the hook roll, you get the whole bait rolls, which moves the bait through the cover instead of the swinging head version. Not a giant, but we got that bait instead of getting stuck. Oh, shnikes. Jeezy Louise. man, they got the fall feed bag on already. Look how dark he is. Beautiful bass. Pushing 2 pounds. Spinnerbait is such a good fall bait because the fish have transitioned off of, you know, crayfish and a lot of your things that are not forage species, or you know, like minnow type species. Sorry, they have transitioned away from things that are not like crayfish and frogs and non-minnow species, because the minnow species are like the main forage when the water gets cold. Everything else has gone into like a hibernation mode, so they just really go to eating other types of minnows and shad and shiners and small panfish. And man, a spinnerbait is such a good bait at mimicking a school of little minnows swimming through the water that the bass love to eat. That's a good one. Man, these bass are fat right now. Look at that one. Oh man, he is short and stout. Look at that fish. That fish is pushing 3 pounds and he's like 16 inches. So we're just going down a backwater right now that's got, you know, a hard bottom stretch of shore on it. There's no current coming through here. In the fall, you generally don't want much current, especially if you're talking largemouth. You know, like places that have like a railroad going by it, or in this case, we got a highway or a road going by it. Those are usually good signs that on a river system, there's going to be a hard bottom, because in order to build that road or that railroad, they need to have a hard enough bottom. They can't really build that stuff through marshes. So we're just going down this backwater, and these fish will come back up here, the largemouth, and winter in them, and trying to pick them off with the old spinnerbait. And we're throwing so this is just a 1/2 ounce double willow. It's the Picasso titanium fixed head spinnerbait. It's the chartreuse gizzard shad color. I really like this on the river. And then for a trailer, I've just got a Berkeley Maxcent Little General on the back. I'm not looking really for movement, just trying to create a little bulk, give the fish something to key in on and suck in. You know, I like it. If I'm not looking for motion, I still like to put something to bulk up the hook. It helps the fish suck it in, and at the same time it just gives a better profile, in my opinion. You know, and because there's no appendages, it's not like it's interfering with the movement of the skirt. You know, these skirts on these Picassos are so good, they're just undulate through the water as I'm reeling it, and the skirt's longer than the you can see the skirt's longer than the actual Little General itself, so it doesn't really interfere at all. I just feel like it helps my hookups, and I feel like it gets me maybe a few extra bites. And you know, that's just my opinion, I guess. I'd love to hear what you guys have to say on that too. Oh, there's another one. Another nice one. Another nice one. Look at that one. Man, these are good bass. Oh gosh. They look, they're a lot heavier than they are. I mean, that's probably a 2 1/4, 2 1/2, probably closer to 2 1/2. They're sitting out a little bit. That's one thing with fall bass. A lot of times they're not, you know, up on the bank tight like maybe they would be if there was current or it was the middle part of summer. they're sitting out on the ledge, and from that standpoint, like you want to generally try to reel. You don't necessarily want to reel slower. You just got to get your bait down a little bit more. It's almost like you get the bite right where your bait disappears out of your visual view. You know, they're kind of sitting on that break. Generally, it's in that 4 foot of water range. So my bites aren't necessarily coming where you feel like they should, which is way up on some of that cut bank stuff. It's just almost like halfway back to the boat. And you got to pay attention to that, because, you know, it's possible they could be up. If it was a good sunny day, they probably would be right on the bank. That cover would be absorbing sunlight and producing heat, but without the sun right now, they're just sitting out on the break. You know, that you have about 1.5 feet of water right on the shoreline, then that tapers off probably about 6-8 feet off the bank, and then it drops off into where the boat is, which is probably about 6-7 foot right now. So you just got to pay attention to where you're getting those bites. That was awesome. I came up over that limb and he pounded it. Oh. I got my rod caught in the camera. Fish is beaten up. Nice one. Look at, I don't even have to do anything to the bait. It's just, that titanium wire is so nice because it just retains the shape that it's supposed to be in, and you never have to worry about like putting it back in the right shape. That's one of the main advantages over it. You know, when you take it and you twist it, it pops right back into position. There's no breaking this. You know, when I get asked a lot of times what's the advantage of the titanium wire over a regular steel wire, they last way longer. Way longer. If you have a good spinnerbait day of fishing with a standard traditional wire, you know, you could go through multiple spinnerbaits in a day. I don't even know how many fish you could catch on these titanium wire ones. Really what ends up happening is either the hook gets super dull, or you end up like wearing the skirt off. So you throw a new one because the other components are not lasting. But generally with spinnerbaits, it's the wire that doesn't hold up, but not with the titanium wire. So when people are like, well, they're expensive spinnerbaits because they cost a few dollars more. Well, they are, but they last multiple times more than traditional spinnerbaits. The other thing too, you get a lot of really good vibration out of the titanium wire. So it's a really limber wire, and the blades really get this thing to spin well when you pulse it and kind of throb the rod. Everything flexes more than your traditional stainless, and you can get that out of some lighter stainless wire, but the lighter you go in stainless, the more brittle it becomes. So it's, you know, it's just, you get the advantages of that vibration, the longevity, and it's worth spending the few extra dollars more on it. So the setup today is pretty straightforward, pretty traditional, nothing special. I'm throwing this Picasso titanium spinnerbait on a 8.0 to 1 gear ratio reel. It's an Abu Garcia Xenon X. And then I've got it with 15-pound, 100% Berkeley Trilene fluorocarbon, straight fluorocarbon. And then the rod is a rod I built. It's an MHX NMB 874, so it's a 7.3 medium heavy fast action rod. Just really good setup for flinging spinnerbaits around. Well, I think we're gonna call it with that, everyone. I give the thumbs up to this, the new Picasso titanium fixed head spinnerbait. So it's more of your traditional spinnerbait design with your titanium wire. You can see We've thrown this all day, or since we've been out, which has only been a few hours, but the bait's in perfect shape. It's still in perfect shape. That's why you throw titanium right there. Hopefully you enjoyed today's video. If you did, hit that like button, subscribe to the channel if you haven't already, and stay tuned. We'll have a new video coming out tomorrow for you.